I just saw this video, saw it was 5 hours, and like, that's the stream. I didn't watch this at all.
Many often overlook that Charles Dickens's 1852 novel
I didn't watch any of this. This is all my very first fucking idea of this.
Sitting in Lincoln's Inn Hall. Implacable November weather. As much mud in the streets as if the waters had but newly retired from the face of the earth.
Yeah, because there was dirt.
Havoc across Christchurch and the Garter. But these were isolated earthquake events.
It was
only
just
portions
dirt.
Of each city
You
were
get
affected.
mud when...
It is not possible for there to have been huge, simultaneous earthquakes around the world during a similar period.
They weren't simultaneously.
Even Wikipedia tells us that liquefaction can occur naturally or artificially from an earthquake or other sudden change in stress condition. Even if this was the case, we do not see the same structural damage to the buildings in the 19th century like we do in cases such as Christchurch and the Garter. Most of the buried architecture we see is intact. It is either sunken, or the ground level has been raised at least 3 meters, sometimes in a uniform manner, and other times partially buried in rolling mud hills, as if there were huge landslides. The strange case of the buried architecture provides the following conclusions. That what lies beneath are not the remains of previous civilizations.
Correct.
More often than not, the buried structures are consistent.
I don't know. We're gonna find out, though.
Ground.
I hope so.
That the structures are much larger than originally suspected, and therefore they are even more of a construction impossibility for a Victorian generation of horse and cart, and those existing before them. That natural topsoil accumulation and soil liquefaction are not satisfactory explanations for what we see here. Whatever took place had to be something much larger.
That's just because you said that topsoil accumulation wasn't a thing, bro.
As many of the photographs show, many citizens of the 1800s were responsible for moving much of the mud, leveling the ground, and excavating buildings, which suggests that whatever happened had happened very recently in their past. The complete absence of a reasonable mainstream justification for the buried architecture we see.
No, we do not need to give people like this money.
Trying to hide whatever happened. And what of the deserted cities we see in the earlier photographs? If these cities were truly empty, then we must ask why. We must also ask how all the people got there in the end. In the space of 30 or so years, we see a city go from barren to bustling.
Barren to bustling.
And 19th century literature more generally that offers
That's true, but Chris Chan provides them with
throughout
comics.
19th century Victorian literature. That of marriage and female chastity, and that of orphans and adoption. Many of the fictional characters we've come to love over the years are orphans. We have Oliver Twist and Pip from Great Expectations.
Yeah, because the parents died a lot, and they were all destitutely poor. Because all of the money in the entire fucking society was going towards building these big-ass fucking buildings that you're bitching about.
Little Orphan Jane Eyre and Heathcliff from Wuthering Heights. We have Mowgli from The Jungle Book. Cosette from Les Miserables. 10
billion bits.
We have Heidi, Rapunzel,
Batman,
Peter Pan, Snow White. We have Tom Sawyer and Huckleberry Finn and Anne of Green Gables.
Are you saying...
of their time, as far as orphan prevalence goes. The only issue is that these novels romanticize the orphan as a figure dislocated from society by default, and therefore pave their lives
Superman was an orphan. That's very true.
This was not reality. The theme of marriage and chastity that we find in so many 19th century literary works, such as those by Jane Austen, the Brontes, George Eliot, Dickens, Thomas Hardy, Leo Tolstoy, Victor Hugo, and more, was nothing more than carefully disguised, well-written propaganda.
What? So because people used to be chaste, this is somehow Okay, alright, fine.
With the sole purpose to
hit me with the gay agenda. Do it.
Social value framework that would separate children from their mothers. Children born outside of marriage or wedlock were regarded as illegitimate, meaning they did not have a legal status. Illegitimate children was a serious stigma throughout the 19th century.
Yeah.
The majority of employers would not hire women with an illegitimate child. Many unwed mothers with illegitimate children ended up without a home, in poor health, starving, exhausted. Their only place of refuge would be the workhouse, where they would carry out the most unpleasant duties. In some places, women with illegitimate children were singled out and had to wear a special uniform, which alerted everyone to their status as an unmarried mother or fallen woman. And
you're wondering why there were so many orphans.
As a result, a vast amount of orphanages and foundling institutions were established.
Thank you.
This is the London Foundling Hospital that was very active in the 19th century.
Why doesn't he say bastard? Well, he's trying to keep his content family friendly.
The official narrative tells us that an estimated 4,500 women handed over their children to this huge building. But this was just one institution. Wikipedia gives us a partial list of over 64 orphanages that were founded in the UK during the 19th century.
There's still a lot of orphanages,
the list is only
bro.
Partial. The peculiar case of the vast amount of parentless children in the 19th century is well documented by many researchers. And most of them agree it is almost impossible to establish figures that really do justice to just how many orphans there were during this period.
So God was
Their
just
footprint did not
dropping
enter the
orphans
records.
off left
It
and
formed in
right,
the mud
right?
and was then washed away. It wasn't just the UK.
The
This was a
orphans are
worldwide
made out of
phenomenon.
mud.
New York City had 4 foundling asylums alone that processed thousands of children annually. By the beginning of the
We'll
20th
watch the
century,
New Generation
the city was
Hope video
reporting
probably
32,000
tomorrow,
children per
honestly.
year. Spain and Portugal were reporting 15,000 annual foundlings. Before 1860, 374,000 recorded infants were processed by the asylums in Milan, Naples, and Florence alone. Historian David L. Ransell states that Moscow was receiving between 16 and 18,000 infants annually by the 1880s.
How to
and sending
explain
over
Flat
10,000
Earth
of
to
these
your
each
kids, a
to
PG
outlying villages
video.
for care.
This is
In
what homeschooling
1882,
is.
there were all told
It's just you put your kid on a bunch of you put your kid on the weird part of YouTube.
32,000 foster families scattered throughout 4,418 villages. A dozen villages had over 90 fosterings each. One thing that is often overlooked is that there were a series of laws passed in the 1800s,
Yeah.
making it almost impossible for unwed mothers to keep their babies.
Where did all the orphans come from? Well, all these there was, you know, laws against having orphans, but where did all the orphans come from? He keeps fucking like contradicting his own points and arguments.
The 1833 Poor Law Reformation introduced bastardy clauses that shifted the entire responsibility for the illegitimate
Bastardy
child onto the
clauses.
mother. Social stigma meant that she would not be able to provide care for her child and would be forced to hand them over to the authorities, or worse. Advertisements for adoption or nurse care became popular in newspapers.
Children for
And, as many
sale.
scholars have pointed out, these were a front for what was termed baby farmers, or paid murder. As Dorothy L. Haller states, the adverts may have been misleading
What?
to the general public, but read like a coded message to unwed mothers. No references are asked for, and none are offered. The sum of 15 shillings a week to keep an infant or a sickly child was inadequate, and a sickly child and an infant under 2 months were the least likely to survive, and the cheapest to bury.
Oh my
Infants
god.
were taken, no questions asked.
This
And it
is
was understood
fucking
that for
dark.
£12, no questions were expected to be asked. The transaction between the mother and the baby farmer usually took place in a public place, on public transportation, or through a second party. No personal information was exchanged. The money was paid, and the transaction was complete. The mother knew she would never see her infant alive
Jesus
again.
Christ.
Most children, however, were not murdered, but were dropped off at the doorsteps of orphanages or the workhouse. All children taken into these institutions were given entirely new identities. They were provided for with shelter, food, and clothing temporarily, and then sent off to workhouses or another location. Photographs in the 19th century were scarce, but towards the end of the century, we see more
Oh,
photographs,
no.
and the last continent to experience such mass exodus of orphans was the United States.
I don't
And it
know
is here
how
we see
this is
evidence of the orphan trade.
how this is flat
The
earth
first group of
thing.
these orphans arrived in Michigan in 1854, and from that moment on, the movement shipped hundreds of thousands of children across the states until it ended in 1929. Officially, there were over 97 institutions involved in orphans and orphan trains in the 19th century. And again, this was not just the United
Bro,
States.
what the fuck?
Annie McPherson will go down in history as a woman who scammed more
I-
than 100,000 foundlings and shipped them from the United Kingdom to Canada, New
Oh
Zealand,
no,
and South
we're
Africa,
getting
and
bingo.
even to the outer edges of the earth in Australia. So that they
Oh,
could be
we're
sold into
getting
child
it.
labor.
Oh
Like we
boy.
see so many
Oh
photographs
boy.
of
I'm
orphans
looking
in
into the
workhouses.
future.
Why are they working with machinery?
I see my bingo
Were there not enough
cards.
adults during this time
I
to carry
see
out this
my
work?
bingo.
And then there is the strange case
Oh,
of the burgeoning American amusement
I
park
see it
at the turn of
all.
the 20th century.
Oh
addition to
no,
rides
bro.
and
I
exhibits,
just saw the
many-
black sun. Like, we're getting bingo. I'm sorry. We are. We're getting multiple bingos.
Of these parks featured an unusual attraction: infantoriums. Visitors of these parks could stroll around with ice cream and swing by these stations. A visit equivalent to
Don't
that
worry.
of a fully functioning
This is just a
neo-Nazi
really
intensive
long
care.
intro for no
Complete with
reason.
Incubators filled with sleeping.
It's some
premature
Nazi shit.
babies.
Don't worry about it.
History has been
The
kind to Martin
Soundgarden
Luther.
song.
Touted as a hero,
Yeah,
Kuhn was
basically.
the German mind behind the incubators. His first encounter with premature babies, we are told, was at the 1896 World's Fair. He knew immediately that the exhibition would save babies' lives. The technology to keep premature babies alive was expensive, and he knew the public would pay to see the babies
It does.
in incubators.
Well, no, actually,
He
it
would charge
doesn't
an
wash
entry
away
fee
the
at
rain
amusement parks
because
for
there's
generous
too
funds
much
to help
mud.
these babies live out these incubators. Advertisers featuring living babies.
All right.
A lot of the fairs
I'm gonna
include
do you
showing
one
babies
better
also
than
featured
the wig.
eugenics.
I'm gonna go grab my bottle of booze and a shot glass. Is the mud just babies? Yes, the mud is actually made out of babies. There's too many babies. I'm gonna go grab my bottle of I bought this Colombian liquor that I like. I'll show it to you in a moment, and I'll put a wig on. It'll be great.
His story is a very similar one of unconvincing philanthropy that we find surrounding some of our contemporary figures today that also do not
Get
have
him. Tell him,
wings.
Bill
And
Gates.
then there is Marie
Tell him
Dressler,
we don't like
a
Bill
Canadian silent
Gates.
film and depression
Fight
era
him.
movie star. She adopted one of these incubator babies. Ah, celebrities and adoption. The official narrative conveniently leaves this part of her story.
What
and
the
tells us
fuck,
that she may
bro?
have had a daughter who died as a small child.
Ugh,
But the photographs
celebrities
suggest
and
otherwise.
adoption.
Did she adopt her incubator baby at one of these fairs? Were the fairs a
Her
front for illicit
pod
adoption of
baby.
premature babies? Even if they were premature, did that mean they had no
I
parents?
guess.
Who owned and was responsible for these parts? And what happened to the babies once they grew and left the incubator?
I literally, like,
If
we are
something
just
feels
jumping
eerily wrong
around.
about the
He
entire
said we
narrative
were going to
surrounding
go
these
from the
parts and
future to the
incubators,
past to the
it's because we
future
are
to the
not being told
past,
the
I guess,
truth.
but,
Why were there hundreds of thousands of parentless children in
like,
the 19th
zoinks,
century?
Scoob, I
Where
don't
did they come
know.
from? They were relocated all over the world. Europe, America, Russia, Australia, Canada.
See,
Why?
this is why I had to lose
Especially
the
when
big
one
hair,
still had a living parent.
is because it makes,
If
like,
pregnancy
the
out of
wigs
wedlock was
so
such a
much
social
easier.
stigma that resulted in such trauma, why would so many people put
I
themselves
look
in that
fucking good
position
in this
the
wig,
first
I don't know
place?
about y'all.
Did the government really care about social morality enough to pass laws? And all the effort to build and maintain orphanages and orphan relocation networks, would this not burden governmental finances and
Okay, how
administration
do I
systems?
open this?
It certainly would have. But, you see,
Oh, I just
there was
twist.
a greater purpose
Awesome.
behind the government's worldwide agenda.
So,
repopulation. The social narrative of
repopulation?
chastity was
What? Alright, cool. So, it's becoming difficult to use meta-irony. Yeah, I don't really understand anything that's happening or, like, what's going on. I just know that there's a lot of babies and mud. But this is aguardiente. This is a Colombian liquor made out of sugarcane with natural anise flavor. I really like it. I really like licorice. So I'm gonna reveal this wig is not from an anime. I'm gonna reveal my face down trap card for y'all on the bingo card. So the bonus shot. So I made this bingo card, not remembering who had posted this video. So you may notice that the bonus shot says Norb Cufus. Well, welcome to Norb's world, everybody. The Norb theory. Oh, Norb's world. Home of the Norb theory. Oh, and if you guys don't know Norb, well, we've done a stream on Norb before.
Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is probably going to be my last video of this kind for this body of artwork.
So
Now,
Norb
I'm
made
going
this
down
incredibly
to
detailed
rabbit holes
3D model of how the
pretty
flat
much my
Earth
whole life, but
works.
the last 15
You'll
years-
notice that this is the flat Earth, and then there's just extra flat Earths on the side. What? It is on my YouTube. Right? We're looking at Norb.
somewhat seriously.
We're Norbing it
A
up.
few years ago, I came across Martin Kenny and his body of research and work based on
So, but
who we
like-
are, what we are,
parts as well, starting with Polaris, Singularity, and I got even more perspective. Now I'm starting to see pyramids, 3 dimensions. And I started to think about some of our structures and some of our stories.
You know what? I think I have actually posted. It's gonna be like real far back. We're talking like, let's see. We're talking, here it is. It's my literal first videos that I left up. Is just Flat Earth 2020 stream clips from a year ago. So that's where Norb lives.
Intelligently designed.
Okay, thank you, Norb. So this was posted by Norb. And so that actually does satisfy our bonus shot condition. So I was a fool. And I fucked up. So Norb got us. Take our bonus shot. No, Norb is you want to know? You want to know what Norb is my favorite? I want you to guess what you think my favorite Norb content is. One shot at life, your parents name you fucking Norb. So I'm gonna pull it up, but I want you guys to guess what you think my favorite Norb content is. Oh fuck yes. I love showing this to people. I want you to see the boy who created these things. Alright, so Norb makes music, everybody. Norb makes music, and he wrote the MGTOW theme song. He called it Poison. And if you don't know what MGTOW is, MGTOW is men going their own way. Mask Sheen. I hope you're ready to cringe deep inside your bones. This is our Flat Earth boy right there.
So men are going the wrong way, 'cause they don't like the women of today.